Good morning, good morning, good morning. It is Baby Friday. I can't believe it. It's been a crazy week. Hello, Muscles. Hey, Shep, Alicia. I haven't seen you in here in a while. We go back and forth on Messenger, though. So I know she didn't get too far away. What's going on, Lisa? Nikita, good morning. We have some new names in here. Make sure you hit that sub button and hit the remind all so that way you know when we're live. Izzy made it in. How's my audio? Is it okay? Because I didn't test it. Hello, Titanium. Jamie made it in. We not a show without Jamie, especially a controversial one, and this one is. How? I don't know. This seems to be something that even Cherry Piss would understand, but people never cease to amaze me. It's all good. Good morning, Janice. How are you? Kiki, thank you. TBT, what's up? What's up? So I'm going to jump right in because I've been festering on this since Amanda told me about it yesterday. If it wasn't for you guys, I wouldn't know half of the stuff that goes on, to be quite honest. You know it's true, and I know it's true. Trent Lehrkamp is his name. Brunswick, Georgia, more specifically St. Simon's Island, Glynn County. Glynn County is going to be familiar. That name will be familiar to you, and we'll get to that in a minute. First, let's start with Trent. There is Trent in better days. Trent is 19, recent high school graduate. Right now, he's currently hospitalized in Georgia, and he's recovering from what has been labeled as a hazing incident. We've heard about hazing. We know what goes on. We've heard about it mainly like in fraternities and stuff like that. This is different. Now, I put hazing on the thumbnail. I apologize. I was not really being a sheep per se. I just want to make sure people could find it because right now it is, the way to find it is hazing incident, Georgia. Horrific hazing. I don't call it a hazing. I call it attempted murder, but nobody asked me. No, there's no frat house, Jamie. It's not like that at all. He went to hang out with some friends, very depraved friends, I might add. And things went horribly wrong. Good morning, Lone Wolf. He was taped to a chair, urinated on. Vodka was poured down his throat. Spray paint was sprayed down his throat. I have to be real careful. I'm walking on thin ice with YouTube right now ever since I put that body cam up. Somebody pooped on his lap. That's the way I have to say it. Now, a few of the so-called friends took him to the ER, dumped him off, but they did leave their names and basically asked, "Can we go now?" And they got the hell out of Dodge. Now, the kindest thing that I have to say about them is that they did take him to the ER. That's the kindest thing that's the only thing I can say. That is the only thing I can say. It wasn't the first time that he has had issues with them. There was one time this is earlier in the month of March, he was hanging out with this same group of people, and he had to have stitches, I think above his eyebrow is what I read. Another time, this was on March 17th. Let me grab my notes. He came home and he was covered in egg yolk, WD-40, glue, and some other things. Now, the controversy is, believe it or not, some people say this is a hoax to make money. Some people also say this is a game that these kids would play with each other and it just went wrong. I don't care. For one, it's not a hoax. If you want to look at this picture on the screen, I'm not going to say trigger warning over and over and over. You've been warned. It's not going to pop up in the chat from the mods either. This is crazy. This is torture. This is Trent in ICU. This is damn sure not a hoax. He's been on a ventilator. When he got to the ER, his blood alcohol content was 0.464. That's almost 6 times the legal limit. By all accounts, he should be dead. By all accounts, he should be dead. He had youth going for him, that's for sure. Now, from my most recent article that I read, he is off the ventilator now, but he is still struggling big time. He aspirated so much that he's battling lung infections. What would the charge be? Hazing, believe it or not, is a misdemeanor. They're saying it can't be attempted murder because they took him to the hospital, so that removes the intent. I don't know. Reckless endangerment, that's for sure. I don't know. Help me with a charge. I'm not a DA. I'm not a lawyer. Nana wants to know about brain damage. I don't know. I don't know what the after effects physically are going to be. I don't even want to imagine mentally what he's going to go through. I'm praying for a full recovery for him, but I don't know. So the police say it appears it wasn't the first time that he was victimized by these POSs. And they're all juveniles. Most are juveniles, believe it or not. You're going to love that part of it. The Glynn County Police Department says the most recent incident took place on March 21st, and that's what landed him in the ICU. When he came home on the 17th, covered in egg yolk, WD-40, all of that, it was just 4 days later, he winds up in the ICU. It's definitely assault. It says they were hanging out on St. Simons Island, beautiful area, by the way. He left his home to go hang out with these people. And hours later, he was dropped off at the emergency room. He was just dropped off at the doors, from what I'm understanding, like a dog. But they left their phone number and then said, "Can we go now?" It was 3 juveniles that dropped him off. He was covered in spray paint and reeked of urine. Now, the residents of Glynn County are beyond pissed. I mean, beyond pissed. A common phrase that's being used there right now is, "This better not take 74 days." And they're referring to the case of Ahmaud Arbery, because that community is still reeling from the massive injustice that they were trying to take place. So March 21st to today, we have no arrest. I watched the press conference a couple of times with the chief. I'm given the benefit of the doubt because the wording sounds like he's trying to find the most he can charge them with. The way it looks, thank God, Trent is going to pull through. Thank God. According to what I'm reading, the intent is not there because they did get him medical help. Let's look at a video from an earlier incident. Just be warned, okay? Be warned.
Get the back of his head. Get the back of his head.
Hey, get out.
This is dude perfect. And we're washing off.
Get in.
Get the back of his head. Get the back of his head.
Hey, get out.
This is dude perfect. And we're washing off.
Get in.
Get the back of his head. Get the back of his head.
Hey, get out.
This is dude perfect. And we're washing off.
Okay, let's do the math from the 21st to today. There is no arrest. This is not hazing. I saw a comment saying this is hazing gone wrong. What? How can hazing go right? Are you kidding me? How can hazing go right? They videoed this situation where they were spraying him with the hose. You hear the one kid say, get him in the back of the head. They videoed the other one. I can't show it. I'm on thin ice with YouTube. Big time. And like I said, this reminds me of that movie Alpha Dog, where you have this gang of kids who have parents that treat them like they're their equal. Parents all have good jobs, own good businesses, and just don't pay attention. Then they find a kid, which that was sort of a different story. That backstory is different, but that's what it reminds me of. This is abuse. This is torture. This is attempted something. But I am hoping that when they lower the boom on these kids, it is severe because their parents aren't going to do a damn thing about it. I'm telling you, they're not. One parent is actually trying to get sympathy for her child. She really is. She's trying to get sympathy. Here is the picture. I can show this. This is the picture that they took of the assault. And yep, I'm calling it a straight up assault. You can look at that for a second. I have no words. I have no words. None. No words. Trinity said, did we talk about this before briefly? I kind of remember this. Nope, this is brand new, girlfriend. If you can see over the banner, that's excrement in his lap. Mermaid said, I want to jump through my screen. Me too. And again, this is not a fraternity sorority situation. Not that it matters. There you go, Steph. Steph said, sue the parents. Exactly. And I'm thinking that is going to happen. All right, so we see this picture. You saw the video. Now we get to this. Brett Buffington. I think we all remember that name. I think he did super work during the Quentin Simon investigation. He's on this one as well. He said this is Edward Rooker Hobby. In the photo from Snapchat on the left, which you saw that on the screen. His mugshot from last November on the right. In a police incident report from 4 months ago, his mother told police he had a drinking problem. He had a problem with drinking. Brett goes on to say Hobby is 17 years old and he has a problem with drinking, according to his mother. No, he does not. No, he does not have a problem with drinking. He has a problem with being parented. You see, he doesn't have a job, so he can't buy alcohol. He also is not 21. So either his mother is keeping booze around the house or she's allowing him to go out around people that are providing it to him. See, he doesn't have a drinking problem. He doesn't get to hit the big book. He doesn't get to claim that. He's got a mom problem. That's his problem. Melanie says, are they all juveniles? Yep. From my understanding, they are all juveniles. Now, the blood alcohol content obviously is really concerning. 6 times the legal limit, and the mixture of substances is definitely something to be concerned about because it wasn't just alcohol, as if that isn't bad enough. He had spray paint in his lungs. He had aspirated it. They're keeping him sedated, and when he does come out of it, they say he's extremely panicked. Now, the naysayers that say that this was a game that went back and forth and he participated sometimes too, I do not believe that story. I don't believe that story, and it does not matter if that is true, but I don't believe it. People that say this was a hoax to get money, again, I'm going to put the picture up. It is disturbing, but there it is. This is no hoax. This is no hoax. Some people have a big ass issue with the GoFundMe that was started. $104,000. Do you know what $104,000 is going to get him for long-term care? Not much. Not much. I guarantee his medical insurance that I'm sure his dad has him on is going to cap out real quick. Real quick. He's been in ICU, on a ventilator, round-the-clock care. It's probably already eaten up. Victims' compensation, from what I read, will not cover this bill until someone is charged. Court case said down payment on the hospital bill. You got that right. We haven't even gotten to his long-term emotional care. They already said that when they start to lay off the sedatives, he wakes up in a panic. This is not just going to go away. It's not just the physical, and we don't even know that he's going to make a 100% recovery from the physical. So let's read the GoFundMe. They were asking for $40,000. Didn't take long. Didn't take long, and good. Good. Very good. It says, this is Trent. Trent spent Tuesday night with a group of people who thought were his friends. Now, this was Tuesday night, March 21st. They picked him up from his house, and he expected to have a casual night with his friends. Trent wouldn't know until it was too late that these were not friends, but vile and abusive perpetrators who would go on to torture, humiliate, and assault him in inhumane, terrifying ways for hours. This wasn't a 10-minute deal, guys. This went on and on and on until they realized he was unresponsive. He was dropped off in front of the ER doors. He was deemed inconclusive to life. He was only passing 6 breaths per minute. Since that evening, Trent has been on a ventilator in the ICU battling fevers and a lung infection. The organizer says, I'm sharing this to help support Trent's family and the medical bills that will likely cripple them as a result of the tragic events that happened to Trent. I'm also sharing this to help bring awareness to the situation, as it has now been 5 days and still little has been done to bring justice for Trent and his family. Well, it's been longer than 5 days now. Now we're on day 10, I believe, and no arrests. It's horrible. Absolutely horrible. Dolores says, how can people do this to another human? I don't understand it. And keep doing it, and keep doing it, and keep doing it. What kind of a depraved young man or woman, I'm going to go ahead and call them adults because that's what they're going to be charged as. What is your brain malfunction? Where Summer said their parents need to be in jail also. I damn sure, I actually agree. I agree with that. I agree. I think they need to be sued to the gills. Again, we just saw this. This is Edward Hobby. His mom says he has a drinking problem. Like I said, he doesn't get to have a drinking problem because he's 17. He is 17. He doesn't get to have a drinking problem. Now, we don't have a picture. It doesn't take long to find, though, but Brett Buffington also said investigative unit can confirm that at least one of the attacks on Trent happened at the St. Simons Island home owned by James and Lauren Strother. The family also owns a hardware store on the island. Brett called, and he said when he called today, he was told no comment. Oh, I bet there's no comment, and I bet there's not a soul shopping at the hardware store either. I hope they're ready to put that house for sale. Damn disgusting is what this is. I hope they're all ready. Just Me said, I'm sorry, but mob mentality comes to mind. Yep. You're right. Mermaid said more Murdaugh parenting. Yep. And just like the Murdaughs, they had to sell all their shit. Of course, Alec had something to do with that. Wicklow said they should be charged with attempted murder. Yep. That's what I say too. And I keep reading and reading and reading. And everything I read says the element of murder can't be put in with it because there was no intent because they took him to the hospital. Too bad. Too bad. The nicest thing I can say about these people is they did take him to the hospital. Right here, Brett Buffington again says investigative unit has confirmed that investigators know Trent's blood alcohol level was 0.464, 5.8 times what police consider intoxicated. When he was dropped off, soaked in urine, covered in spray paint, and bruised. So they were hitting him too. And the FBI confirms that they are assisting the Glynn County Police Department. Also, the GBI is assisting. Now, neither the FBI or GBI are in charge of the case, but they are definitely involved. Trinity, exactly. They almost killed him. They damn sure did. They almost killed him. Now, I have a list of names here of people that have been identified in the video. I will put it in the Crime Lines and Lies Facebook group, or I'll put it on the members community tab. I don't know yet. I got to figure out how brave I am because they're only mentioning 2 kids. They're mentioning Edward Hobby and Jackson Strother. But this list that was sent to me has a lot of names on it. It's got parents' names and what they do. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say this one name because this name is the one that really concerns me. His name is Leland Davis. His dad is an officer for the Glynn County Police Department. If I was him, I would move to a new department. I would get out of that county. And I don't know what it is about police officers and preachers, but as good of people as they supposedly are, they can really have some shithead kids, can't they? It's damn scary. And it looks bad that there wasn't an arrest and a quick arrest, and one of the perpetrators' dad is a cop. That's a bad look, guys. That's a bad look. Now, they are having an issue, the chief mentioned yesterday. We will get to that. He said they are being flooded with social media tips. And he said when we have to investigate everything that comes through. So when we get something from Facebook, or we get something from the Snapchat, or we get something from the TikTok, or we get something from the YouTube, it's taking us away from a critical tip. So don't do it. Don't do it. Look at this clip with me, and I'm going to put the link up because I got a lot to say.
Trent Lehrkamp, a 19-year-old fighting to recover in a hospital's ICU for nearly a week, following what police are calling a brutal case of bullying.
In our society, we should have a zero tolerance for bullying and the mistreatment of others.
An incident report from the Glynn County Police Department says in the middle of the night, 3 teens dropped Lehrkamp off at a South Georgia hospital after an encounter leaving friends and family heartbroken.
It's a sad signal. How those kids, they get charged.
The report shows doctors told police Lehrkamp was found unresponsive after drinking vodka and antidepressants, and that his clothes were soaked with urine, and that he had spray paint all over his body and hair. A friend of the teen sharing some of what he says his friend endured with our Atlanta affiliate, WXIA.
Even him, they forced a whole handle bottle of Tito's down him.
The police report confirming the blood alcohol level was more than 5 times the legal limit for adults.
I say it's attempted murder, or at least torture. And I mean, he was unconscious, and these barbarians that did this to him dropped him off at the ER. At least they did that.
Even worse, the report says Lehrkamp's father told police this isn't the first time his son's been the target of such bullying. This video, initially posted on Snapchat, is now circulating on social media of another incident, showing Lehrkamp being hosed in a chair as those standing by seem to call out his name.
Chief, that picture of him in the chair and the video of him being hosed, are those 2 separate nights?
That is correct.
The police report adds earlier this month, Lehrkamp's father told police his son came home covered in WD-40, vomit, paint, glue, egg yolk, and spray paint. Families sharing their pain in a phone call with our Atlanta affiliate, WXIA.
So disturbing and disgusting what these kids did to him.
The Glynn County School District, where Lehrkamp was formerly a student, confirmed the off-campus incident involved several of our former and current students, adding they are cooperating with the ongoing investigation.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Late Monday, hundreds held a vigil outside the teen's hospital.
He was a very sweet, goofy, intelligent kid.
Offering support for the family as authorities piece together exactly who is responsible.
I would ask that folks not be afraid to speak up.
And Morgan Chesky joins us now. Morgan, we just heard from police there. Do we know anything more about where the investigation stands?
Allison, we do. Police say this remains a very active investigation, and they add that the FBI is now involved in learning more. And while they have confirmed that those minors in both the photo and video have been identified, there have been no formal charges filed at this time. Allison?
No formal charges filed. Again, what would you charge them with? I'm at a loss for words. I'm seeing a lot of crimes. Amanda, I got Amanda backstage, but her device is not connected. Try it again, Amanda. Good morning, Rowena. Good morning, Rowena made it in too. Let's look at the police report real quick. I'm going to have to read it on my phone because that is very small print for me. Torture is definitely something. Okay. This is dated March 21st. On the date listed above, at around 22:40 hours, I responded to 2415 Parkwood Drive, Southeast Georgia Health System. While en route, dispatch advised me that someone in blank wanted, as you can see, it's heavily redacted. Someone in blank wanted to make a report on the hazing that occurred somewhere on St. Simons Island. Dispatch had no information after that. Okay, so that is the first intake that this officer received. Hazing. Now, imagine the look on his face or her face when they made it to the hospital. I saw a comment saying this is hazing that went wrong. Stop making things that are wrong, right. Just stop it. It's okay to call out the BS. It really is. It's therapeutic. Don't make excuses for these people. Once at the hospital, I walked to blank. I observed a white male laying motionless on a hospital bed hooked up to a ventilator, surrounded by Mark Lehrkamp, father. His sister was there and stepmother. I walked to the nurse's station and spoke to Dr. Blank and Nurse Blank. They stated that around 8:30 p.m., a white Jeep Wrangler 4-door pulled up to the ER. 3 occupants got out of the Jeep saying that the male in the back seat, later identified as Trenton, was unresponsive after drinking vodka and antidepressants. They went to the rear of the Jeep, opened the door, and found Trenton laying unresponsive with shallow breathing. So they lied. So they drop him off and they just say he took antidepressants and drank too much. So look at us being good Samaritans. They observed that Trenton's clothes were soaked with urine. Trenton had spray paint all over his body and hair with a small bruise on his left shoulder, and kept asking if they were free to leave. They asked if they could write their name and phone number on a sheet of paper in case they had any more questions. All 3 agreed and then got back into the Jeep and drove off. They stated that Trenton's breathing was 6 times per minute. Trenton could not breathe independently, so they had to sedate him and put him on a ventilator. They also noted that Trenton's blood alcohol level was at 0.464. Thank you, Gina. I love you being here every morning. Me love you too, Gina. You're the best. I apologize for the way I'm reading because I have all these redactions and I'm trying to fill it in. Whist. Thank you. Where did they get the vodka? I have a feeling one of the parents, probably the parent that is complaining and wanting sympathy for her child, who is a big part of this, and is saying, he has a drinking problem. I'm trying to get him help. I want to get him in recovery. Somebody help me. I got to put him in a program. No. Answer's no. He doesn't have a drinking problem. You're his problem. Police report goes on to say, I first spoke to Mark, who stated that the last time he saw Trenton was earlier in the day at 4:57 p.m. Trent was perfectly fine, and he went to his friend's house. Later that day, around 8:40 p.m., Blank told Mark that something had happened to Trenton and that he might be at the hospital. Mark called the hospital and asked if Trenton had been dropped off. The hospital staff informed Mark that Trenton was dropped off and Mark needed to get there immediately. See, it was, from what I'm reading, it was touch and go, and they were not positive he was going to make it through the night. So people that say this is a hoax for a $100,000 GoFundMe, get lost. People that say this is a game and he participated, get lost. He did not tape himself to that chair, and he did not pour spray paint down his throat into his lungs. These people are crazy. People that are saying, well, these kids come from broken homes. Tell it to kids who grew up in the 80s. Shut up. Just shut up. This making excuses for people is old. It is old. Where Summer said hazing should be a damn crime any way you look at it. And it is, but it's a misdemeanor. They could charge him with hazing right now. But a misdemeanor doesn't fit. Doesn't fit. So they tell him to get to the hospital immediately. When Mark arrived, he saw that Trenton was on a ventilator. Mark stated this was not the first time Trent had gone to Blank's house and returned hurt. Last Friday on the 17th of March, Trent came home covered in WD-40 vomit paint, glue, egg yolk, and spray paint. Mark stated that Trenton seemed high or drunk, and 2 weeks prior, Mark had to take Trent to the emergency room because he came home with a severe laceration above his left eye and had to have it stitched. He said when he hangs out with them, He never comes home normal. He's never acting normal when he comes home. It's gone on to say that Trenton was trying to be accepted and honestly thought these people were his friends. I don't know. There's more to that story, and I'm sure it's going to come out later. I just don't know what to say. This family is not they know pain and they know hurt. This is Trent's mother, Jamie. She just passed away in 2021. I'm not going to go through the whole obituary. So the father goes through being widowed at such a young age, raising 3 children on his own. Now, look what we have. Trent thinks he has friends. He's making friends. We just roughhouse with each other. You know, that's about the extent of it. Yeah, I got to have my eye stitched out, but you should see the other guy type of thing. Now, let's look at what this mother has to say. And I use that term loosely about her son having a drinking problem. That makes me so mad to even hear that.
Week since 19-year-old Trent Lehrkamp was dropped off at a Brunswick hospital barely breathing. His alcohol level almost 6 times of what law enforcement considers intoxicating.
Glynn County Police now investigating what it calls a hazing incident. As we first told you last night, the Georgia Bureau of Investigation has also joined this case. Last night, dozens of people showing up at a vigil in Brunswick to show their support for the 19-year-old, many calling for charges to be filed in this case. But tonight, another day that no one has been arrested or charged in the disturbing attack on the teen.
WSAV's lead investigative reporter Brett Buffington is live from the hospital in Brunswick tonight. Once again, he has new exclusive details to share. Brett?
And Tina, here today we have learned that it was a security guard at this hospital who...
Real quick before I get into this. Oh, Amanda's got the link. I'm going to bring you up just a second, Amanda. Is Brett Buffington trying to grow a goatee? I realize this is way off topic. He's got, looks like he's definitely trying to grow a goatee. He's got on a spring shirt too. We're used to seeing him in a blue sweater.
And Tina, here today we have learned that it was a security guard at this hospital who alerted police. The dispatcher who took his call originally classified this as an assault. Over the weekend, the police department here called it hazing, and people who live in this community do not agree with that.
Okay, fine. Assault, 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 assault. Arrest them for assault. You have a video. Then, if you find more evidence, which you will, upgrade it. What are they doing? The only thing I can think of is the family's influence in this town, and one of the kids has a daddy who's on the force. This is not a good look. Not a good look.
City Dispatch.
Hello, yes, this is Officer Charles at the hospital.
8:46 p.m. last Tuesday, an officer at this hospital called dispatch just moments after Trent Lehrkamp was dropped off at the entrance to this emergency room. The 3 teens who delivered him left their names and took off.
For possible hazing. Son getting hazed and all. Yeah, son getting hazed.
Glynn County Police, in a statement Monday night, says investigators have talked with the teens involved. Tonight, the WSAV investigative unit knows one of those teenagers is Edward Rooker Hobby. This is him in this Snapchat photo, standing behind Trent Lehrkamp. He was 17 years old last November when police took his mugshot, arrested for criminal trespassing. The police report for that arrest says Hobby shattered a mirror and a pot at the house where he lived with his mom. When the police tried to get his side of the story, the officer wrote that Hobby told him to either make an arrest or leave him alone. The teen spent 3 days in jail. But notable, in the 17-year-old's police report, his mother told the officer that Hobby has a drinking problem. Monday, when we reached out to Hobby's mother, St. Simon's Island realtor Angela Hobby, she told us she was, quote, praying for everyone and all of the families involved.
Brett is a gangster. I don't know if it's the new goatee he's growing or what the deal is, but he flat out says his mother is a realtor. And it gets deeper than that. One of the kids, but I believe the mother, works for the Brunswick News. Another one owns the Subaru of America dealership or works there, manages it. I don't know the whole details, but they all have they have their hooks in this community from what I'm gathering.
Other than the Lehrkamps, the WSAV investigative unit has learned at least one of those families is the owner of this St. Simon's hardware store, James and Lauren Strother, who owned this house where at least one of the 3 attacks on Trent happened. But tonight, we simply cannot tell you here who the names of the other teenagers involved in this are, but we know who they are, and we are working to learn everything we can about them as we wait to see if anyone will be arrested or charged in Trent Lehrkamp's case. We are live in Glynn County tonight in Brunswick. I'm Brett Buffington, WSAV News 3 on your side.
If those parents had any soul whatsoever, they'd get the kids a lawyer and they'd take them straight down there. This is horrible. And all eyes are on that little county now. This isn't just going to go away. Hello, Amanda.
Hi, how you doing? Good morning.
Good morning. My face about fell off when you sent me this yesterday. I'm like, this can't be. Now, hang on. These kids being just total assholes, that's one thing. That's one thing. But no arrests? Because if there had been an arrest, I probably wouldn't cover it per se. Because, the wheels of justice are turning. But there's no arrest. What are your thoughts on this?
I find this horrible, horrific, disgusting. I feel like because these parents have money, one of the parents is a cop, they want to cover it up and make it go away. And because of people like you and other people opening up, it's given Trent and others a voice to be heard and to be fought for. Because all I feel they're doing is trying to sweep it under the rug and make it go away.
They would love to call this hazing because it's a misdemeanor. They would love to call this hazing. What they weren't betting on was him being put on a ventilator and kept in the ICU for over a week. They would love to call this horseplay that just went too far. They would just love to do something like that. It can't happen. That blood alcohol content was almost 6 times the legal limit. By all accounts, he should not be alive. If he was 10, 20 years older, he would have been dead on arrival.
It's disgusting, beyond disgusting. And these kids should be trialed as adults. They did an adult act. They should be punished with an adult act. Period.
Oh, you're damn right. Hey, Hobby already got in trouble back in November, so we already know where his mind is. He's already a deviant, okay? He is already a social deviant. Now he's flat out a criminal. They're all going to be 18 in a couple of months anyway. I don't care if they throw them in juvenile hall and escalate it when they're 18. I don't care. I don't care. They are all adults. Hell, they charge 14-year-olds as adults anymore. Charge them as adults. They thought this was a fun game. And they say, well, It's hazing. It's hazing. Look at that picture. That is not hazing.
Even Sarah Boone unintentionally didn't mean to unalive her significant other, but yet her butt's in jail. Why not them? What's the difference?
And it didn't take, I mean, the difference in that is that Trent is alive. And I'm like, are they waiting to see if he pulls through and then they put the charges? I don't understand what's going on. But no way in hell do they think this can go away. The FBI's involved. The GBI's involved. I'm wondering if the officer who had a child present is still going to work every day or if he's been put on administrative leave until this is sorted out.
I know. I'd like to know that too. I mean, I feel like because he's a cop, you're gonna, oh, let's take some time. No, you thought this would go away and people would hush and be quiet and not bring it to life. No, we're not going away. We're gonna fight for Trent because he deserves someone. Hell, I'll be your friend, Trent. You deserve to have real people in your life that actually give a damn.
Yep.
And I'm one of those people who do give a damn, and I'm not going to let this slip through the cracks. I'm not going to be quiet. I'll be your voice, and we've got to be a voice for this. We can't allow this to keep continuing in life where people think, oh, it's just a game. No, it's not a game. He deserves a voice. We need to be his voice and not let this slip through the cracks and be swept under a rug like it never happened, just because the parents are like the Murdochs, well-to-do. No, I don't care if you're poor. I don't care what color you are. If you do something wrong, pay the consequences for what you did. Period.
Because probably the worst thing that ever happened to the powers that be, and that means the people that are up there, you know, government officials, police, so on and so forth. And I don't believe all police are bad. I back the blue. But one of the worst things that's ever happened to them, one of the worst things that's ever happened to them is social media. And not because people call in with psychic prediction tips, but because we all get together and there's more of us than there are of them. And we say, we're not having this. Before social media, nobody would have known this was going on because the Brunswick News would not have reported it because, well, one of the parents works for the Brunswick News. Would have never happened. There would not be a vigil of hundreds of people outside of his hospital room screaming. Would have never happened.
You're right. I black the blue too, but also in the other hand, I don't back it when they're trying to cover up just because his kid is a kid of a cop.
God, no. That makes me so mad. He should have been charged faster. Bella said hazing is skinny dipping.
I'm sorry.
Oh, no, you're fine, hon. We have just a little bit of a lag. It's not a big deal. Bella said hazing is skinny dipping or seeing how many saltine crackers you can eat in your mouth with water, without water, or going to Target in a dumb outfit. It's something like that. But when they say this is hazing, no.
No, that's just giving it a little title to it. No, this to me is attempted murder. You kept on and on and on torturing this poor kid and kept on and on. The only reason you took him to the hospital is, oh, he stopped breathing. We better do something now. You shouldn't have never started it. Period. Never. You should have never done this.
I don't know about Georgia, but most states have a second-degree attempted murder. It does take the intent out, and it's a very, very, very lengthy sentence.
Oh, I feel they should be done like Leilani. They should be given malice.
That's what, see, and that's one thing that Georgia, they do have the asterisk there for the malice. How is it not malice? They videoed this. They kept on and kept on even when they knew he was unresponsive. Finally, they realized that he wasn't coming out of it. Like I said, the only nice thing I can say about them is that they took him to the ER. And I want to know which 3 took him to the ER, because there was way more kids there than 3.
Yeah, I'd like to know that too. I wonder if the cop's son was one of them.
That's what I'm wondering too. Those that just scattered and went home, they're going to regret that. And the ones that left their phone number and said, "Can I leave now?" They're going to regret that. That's a bad look. That's a bad look. Slim Hauser said Governor Kemp signed a law that would impose additional penalties if the prosecution can prove that a defendant's motive for a crime was hatred of the victim's race, religion, gender, sexual orientation, or disability. I don't know how any of that would apply to Trent, but I don't know. It's horrible. And when they say hazing, it can't be hazing because there's no organization. There's no group. This is not a frat house. This is a group of thugs, entitled thugs, that decided it was funny to pick on Trent. Torture's damn sure illegal, and they tortured him. He was taped to the chair. He couldn't get up. They held him. They poured the vodka down his throat. He aspirated into his own lungs. I mean, and they said, even now, he's off the ventilator, I believe. That's what I read in a report. And he's still battling fevers, lung infection. It's horrible. It's absolutely horrible. Let's look at this real quick, and then we're going to get to the press conference. Got to get our blood pressure down a little bit. Just a little bit. It's going to take a lot for me, though.
More than
Oh,
a
me
week
too.
after Trent Lehrkamp was dropped off at a Brunswick hospital unconscious, covered in urine and spray paint. We are hearing from the Glynn County Police Chief. WSAV's lead investigative reporter, Brett Buffington, was there today. He has been since the beginning. And Brett, you talked to the chief, who says that could raise the level of something that's more severe than hazing.
And Tina, in fact, the police chief here said that this isn't hazing, which is something that we have been reporting for the last 2 days. Listen, we did get some good news from the chief here today, and that is that Trent Lehrkamp continues to recover in this hospital behind me tonight, with his family fully supporting the police investigation.
Today, I will provide updates on our investigation.
8 days after Trent Lehrkamp was dropped off so drunk he could barely breathe at this Brunswick hospital, the county's police chief today asked people here to be patient.
If a picture could say 1,000 words, then the 1,000 words that picture would say was, that's a horrible incident that occurred, that what that victim went through.
It is horrible. This is beyond bullying. I'm not trying to slam on this chief. I know he's got a lot going on. This is the incident. This is what they're talking about. He said, if a picture can say 1,000 words, when a picture leaves me at a loss for words, you know it's bad. This is not just bullying. No way.
They act as though they're so proud of it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Proud enough to video it, proud enough to take pictures of it, proud enough to let it circulate even after they dumped him on death's door at the hospital door. They want to be hard. They want to try to look like gang members. Throw them in the pen with some real gang members. Throw them in there.
Yeah.
They can learn. They can learn the hard way. They're going to wish they never saw a roll of tape or a can of WD-40 or a can of spray paint. Old boy's not going to have a drinking problem for too long when he's in the pen.
We
Oh,
can't
he'll
rush to
sober up
judgment. We have
mighty
to take our
fast.
time on this.
The investigation being led by Glynn County Police investigators. The Georgia Bureau of Investigation tells us today its agents are only helping with specific investigative acts. Federal agents from the FBI also on the case. New today, we learned police know who at least 11 people are in 2 separate attacks on Trent. Police say all of those people are under 18. In the neighborhood where at least one of the attacks happened, people who lived there told me the police haven't been to their homes and haven't asked them any questions. Among the evidence we now know investigators have are cell phones from the teens involved. The interim chief didn't say what was found on those phones. He did say that police would be talking with Trent Lehrkamp again about the 3 attacks he went through.
In this investigation, we owe it to this victim and to his family to make sure we get it right.
What happened to Trent and Trent's story is being talked about across this country tonight. I asked the police chief this afternoon what he thought about that and the image and the light that it shines on Glynn County. He told me, don't let this community be judged by the actions of a couple of teenagers. We are live in Brunswick tonight. I'm Brett Buffington.
Couple of teenagers, a whole gaggle of them, if you ask me. A comment that I saw, not in here because we don't get down like that, was, what right would they have to sue the parents? They didn't do anything. Are you kidding me? This went down at one of the homes. That's $1 million house sitting there on that coastal Georgia property. Sue them. I don't care if they have money or not. They can pay $10 a week till they shit the bed. I don't care if they're on welfare. Sue them.
They
Sue 'em.
haven't even stated if a parent was home or not. So we still don't know if a parent was home or not.
And that's true too. We don't know yet. Either way, they are the parents, you know?
And they deserve to be sued. They deserve to cover this boy from now until whenever, whatever bill he needs, whatever thing he needs taken care of, all those parents should have to take care of it. Period.
His breathing might be affected for life. I haven't even heard about brain activity. I don't know. 6 breaths per minute sounds like we might have had some oxygen deprivation going on. I'm no doctor. Sounds like there could be an issue there. 6 times the legal limit. Like I said, by all accounts, his youth was working for him for sure, because if he was much older, he would have been dead from that alone. Christina said, especially considering they're under 18. Elaine, I agree. She said, I will judge the community if they allow this to be swept under the rug, under the carpet. Exactly. Or if they get some sort of BS sentence where they're out in 5 years, like they give them 10, but they're going to serve 5 and they're out in 18 months. We'll judge. Yeah, we can do that. We're allowed to have opinions too. This is horrible. This is horrible. And I have sons, and this situation here has always been one of my worst fears. Now, they're out of that age now. I don't worry about it anymore. But these boys that are bullies, and they find the weakest person in their group, it's horrible. It's horrific what these kids have to go through. And it's always been one of my worst fears. And I've asked my kids before when they come home with something, you know, a bruise or something like that. Did anybody do anything to you? Did anybody touch you? Of course, they're like, no, hell no. I'm fine. Don't worry about me. They didn't say hell no. But it's always been a huge fear of mine. So when I saw this yesterday, I just can't imagine. I can't imagine being that medical staff either. You know, they see this kid, 19 years old. He just graduated. I understand he's a grown man, 19. Reeking of urine with spray paint all over him, and he can't breathe on his own. Horrible. Absolutely horrible. Let's look at the press conference. Anywhere that you want me to stop it and discuss it, you let me know, because I already have my points that I want to discuss.
Okay.
I'm the interim chief of police for Glynn County Police Department. Thank you for being here. Today, I will provide updates on our investigation into incidents involving Trent Lehrkamp that occurred on St. Simon's Island. I'm thankful, as is the victim and his family, for the hard work of the law enforcement officials that have been involved in this investigation. And with that, I'd like to read a statement that was provided to me by the Lehrkamp family. Trent is transitioning. He's beginning the next step of his care. And we ask that you continue to pray for Trent. The family would like to state that they're in full cooperation with this investigation and the efforts of all the law enforcement officers. They want justice for Trent and hopefully be able to prevent this from happening to anyone else in the future.
Hold on 1 minute. I want to say something real quick.
That have been involved in this incident have been.
Go ahead, girlfriend.
You notice that not once did he mention that one of the kids' fathers was a cop?
He did not.
Not one time.
And I went through it on a slower speed with closed captions, because I thought I would think he would have to address that. Then I hear it's a rumor that that kid wasn't there. He's in the pictures.
Yeah.
Unless he's got a twin, a doppelganger.
It's like they're trying to cover it up. But I noticed not one time, because if he would have mentioned this in this presser, that would have made people even more pissed off.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry about my language, but it's
No,
true.
that's it. I think they're trying to contain a crowd is what they're trying to do. They saw that scene outside the hospital. Hundreds of people screaming, no justice, no peace. He's not about to address the elephant in the room, because some people may not know it's going to make it worse. He knows that. He already knows it's a heated situation. That's the only way that's the only reason I think it.
And another reason he don't want it to keep being voiced on social media, because, if I get him to stop talking about it, then guess what? It'll eventually go away. That's why I came to you and I went to Alex, another YouTuber.
Mm-hmm.
This is why I came to y'all and brought this up, because I don't want this swept under the carpet. I don't want this to be silenced. I want to yell. I want it to be loud, and I want people to fight for this boy. Trent deserves a voice, period.
A voice, because he was on a ventilator and he's sedated. When he wakes up, I want to know how they question him as to what happened. He's been sedated. What information can he give? What is
That's right.
How cognitive is he? He's having difficulty breathing. I mean, he's going to have to tell him what happened. I just hope they're real easy with him. Real easy with him.
That's right. And how's he even gonna? He's just woke up,
collecting evidence,
and you're trying to
interviewing
get
subjects.
information out of
And
him.
at this point in time, we've identified all individuals that were involved in the video, as well as the photograph of the victim sitting in the chair. That took a lot of time. We've collected a lot of evidence that the Georgia Bureau of Investigation is going to be helping us analyze. We've also looked at other aspects of this case.
Okay, right there. What are the other aspects of the case? He knows, I don't know, but what could it be? And I don't know anything about this county. I don't live there. I just know what I heard about another incident that happened there. I don't want to cross cases. I would think that the new DA, because we know that they had to switch DAs, that the new DA would be like, bring it, bring me everything you've got. I got to get some charges rolling now. What is going on with the district attorney? The chief cannot file charges. The sheriff cannot file charges. The investigators cannot file charges. The cop whose kid was in on it cannot file charges. Where's the DA? In these cases, I get so tired of people forgetting. Where's the district attorney that files the charges? Is he the holdup? Somebody is.
I'm questioning who is the holdup.
Who's the holdup? Because it's not old boy on the screen. The way he's phrasing stuff is they want bigger charges, if I'm hearing him right.
Today, investigators with the Glynn County Police Department and the Georgia Bureau of Investigations continue to look into social media posts that have been supplied to the office. While we do appreciate the information provided by this source, there has been some misinformation that is spread via this medium as well, some of which to include the misidentification of individuals that were not involved in this incident, which has affected many families here in our local community.
Okay, and that I can 100% agree with. When you are misidentifying people in the picture, that's no bueno. That's no bueno. Just because they know the people or they have hung out with them before doesn't mean they were part of this. That's not cool. And this is a trend we are seeing in case after case after case after case. They're like, look, have your Facebook groups, have it all. It's not going to affect our investigation. All it's going to do is make it slower, because evidence is not what you discuss on the internet. We know it. We know that. But when people are calling with something that was discussed between someone, online, they have to investigate it, and it takes them away from what's really pertinent. I really wish people would quit doing that. But he says a source. I'm curious as to who the source is that's turning so much over to them. Somebody has a soul.
I'm curious. Yeah, somebody maybe possibly that was there when all of it was happening, both times.
Mm-hmm. Maybe one of the kids that took him to the hospital and got out of there.
Yes.
Somebody, I believe that one of these kids who in the first step didn't do the right thing, in the end did do the right thing and said, we have to get him to the hospital. I truly believe that. If not, I think the main ring, and I could be wrong, I think they would have left him for dead. I truly do. Particularly one of them. Particularly one, but I won't say yet.
I agree. I believe one of them may possibly be having a guilty conscience. Maybe feeling bad that, yeah, it was all fun and games, but at the end of the day, they feel like crap for what has happened to Trent. And they want to do the right thing.
And they should. And, they did the right thing, but that still doesn't cut the mustard for me.
No, they deserve punishment, period.
They certainly do.
Anybody I mean, at the end of the day, even if you say, I'm going to go do the right thing, man up, get what you deserve, get your punishment.
Anybody that watched, exactly, Diane. Diane said, what scares me is the kids that sat and watched this horror take place. They all have phones. Nobody could sneak off into another room and call 911. Nobody, not a one of them could sneak into another room and call 911. They just let this continue happening.
And I don't understand why nobody called 911 when they noticed he was unconscious.
What I think is, I really think that the main ones they were going to scatter and just make it look like he drank too much and just leave it be. I think somebody stood up and said, no, we have to get him to a hospital, because there's 11, and I'm going to go ahead and say adults, 11 adults, 3 managed to get him to the hospital. I don't think that the 3 that took him to the hospital were the ones that were participating in this torture. It's horrific. Horrific.
Beyond that,
The misinformation
go
that's
beyond
provided
that.
via social media can hamper an investigation, because we will follow up on every lead that we receive, no matter where it comes from, which means that the investigator is drawn from other assignments of critical information of importance to this investigation to further it by following false leads. Like I said earlier, currently forensic analysis is being conducted on the devices collected, as well as information that we received from search warrants. That information, as well as evidence, is being sent off to be analyzed by the GBI lab. This isn't going to be an overnight investigation. The incident occurred on Tuesday. It was reported to us, and here we are over a week later, and we're still investigating.
Okay, so I'm going to have issues with this. This isn't going to be an overnight investigation. I get it. I understand that there was 11 adults there. That's the number I'm hearing. And you have a video. You have this picture right here. Anyone that says, but because they took a picture with him doesn't mean they had anything to do with it. I don't know where these people come from, but when I hear things like that, I need a new planet. They're posing with him. Now, with this picture, they made sure to put a cup in his hand and he's taped down. Did they really think that anyone would look at this picture and say, aren't they cute? Kids will be kids. I remember when I was a kid, we'd do this every weekend. No.
Hell, and even if they weren't involved with it, guess what? That's accessory. You're sitting there in the picture, you're there. So you were accessory to this act that happened. You should be in trouble too. You should be going to jail for being there and allowing it to happen.
You're exactly right. You're 100% right. Oksana said, if you posed with him for a photo, you're an accomplice to the crime, period. Now, the question is, what is the crime going to be? What is the DA going to charge them with? They're not all going to get the same charges. I know that. That's not going to happen. What is it going to be? Every one of them needs to be in trouble. Maybe give some leniency to the ones that took him to the hospital, but I mean a tad bit. They are grown men. Bella, you're exactly right. She said people seriously need to stop referring to them. They need to start referring to them as men. Boys and teenagers sugarcoats and almost implies innocence in some twisted way. Exactly. They're not 8 and 9 years old. Hell, one of them's already got charges from November. He knows what's up. He's adult enough to have a drinking problem, according to his mom. You know my thoughts on that. He doesn't have a drinking problem. He has a mom problem. I think she should be in trouble too. I think the owners of that house should be in trouble too. And I hope every parent of every kid that was there gets sued. Sue them.
That's right.
Because that they certainly won't like. They're already going to be up to their eyeballs in lawyer bills. Come on, sue them. Sue them too.
If we could just make a case off of one single photo or one single video without getting any other type of evidence, then that would not be that would not be a thorough investigation. And in this investigation, we owe it to this victim and to his family to make sure we get it right. If a picture could say 1,000 words, then the 1,000 words that picture would say was, that's a horrible incident that occurred, that what that victim went through. we can't rush to judgment. We have to take our time on this, and that's what we're doing. In our society, we should have a zero tolerance for bullying and the mistreatment of others. That goes for any student, that goes for any parent, that goes for any adult. And all I could ask is that when you see something, you have to say something. A lot of this incident was revealed via social media.
I have to say something. I guarantee if it was that cop's son, the parents of that newspaper, wherever they work, if it was their kid that this happened to, they would already have daggum silver bracelets on their hands and their asses would be in jail. Period.
I agree 100%. If the child whose mom works at the Brunswick News, if it was him, heads would already be rolling. If it was Jackson, whose parents own the hardware store, heads would be rolling. If it was Leland, whose dad is a cop, heads would be rolling. Even if it was wannabe gangster Edward Hobby, if it was him with the drinking problem, heads would be rolling. But since it's the kid who's a little awkward, who just lost his mom a couple of years ago, no one cares.
I mean, come on. Do right, Glynn. Do right. I'm sorry, this just pisses me off.
Oh, I've been fired up about this since you told me. At first I was like, when the hell did this happen? Because sometimes people will send me old cases, and I'm like, whoa, this was last week. And then I'm like, what are they charging them with? And I'm looking more and I'm like, nobody's been arrested? Oh, and then I was blowing you up all day. You were probably so sick of hearing it from me.
Oh, no. I mean, I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart for giving this case, Trent, a voice, using your platform for cases like this that are just shrugged off like it's nothing, like they don't deserve justice. Thank you for that. It means so much to me that you're doing this, and an awesome and amazing job you are doing with this case.
Oh, I'm not done yet, girlfriend. You're going to probably get sick of hearing about the case in a couple weeks.
Oh,
Lone Wolf,
I definitely will not get sick of it. What will make me sick is if people stop talking about it and stop bringing light to it.
And we want it to come to that, because when we stop talking about it, it's because arrests are made and Lady Justice has got the wheel and it's going forward. Now, if we hear that 11 kids are on house arrest, I'm going to be bitching.
Oh,
if
yeah.
we hear 11 kids got deferred sentences, I'm going to be bitching. Lone Wolf, I'm not bitching about this. Thank you for the super sticker. Said you have 3 attacks, 3 crime scenes. And thanks to the Crumbly case, the parents can be charged also. You are so right, Lone Wolf. So this 3rd attack makes it premeditated and planned.
Ooh,
wow. Yes. Great point. Thank you, Lone Wolf. That's true.
Yeah.
Lone Wolf, can you be the DA for the day?
I know. Love that.
And they were proud of what they did. They knew that he was dropped off at the ER and this stuff was still floating around social media. They were so brazen, they didn't even take it down. Who did they think was going to think this was okay?
And thank God they were stupid enough to do videos and take pictures, because thank you, giving evidence of what you damn did.
Now, 3 of these names I'm looking at are definitely females. I'm wondering if it wasn't the girls that took him. I don't know. I'm not saying that boys wouldn't do it. Boys just sometimes have a way of not bucking up to their peers. So I'm really curious, because the 3 of these names are for sure girls. This list that I was sent.
Uh-huh.
They're not in any of the pictures. All the pictures I see are of men. Cowardly men, but you know.
Yeah,
There are
I
a lot of
believe the
juveniles that
men.
were.
I believe the men were the main ones who were doing the action, but the females were just probably hosting it, going, yeah, cheering them on. You know what I mean? And then probably later on, if they did take them to the hospital, they're mainly the ones feeling like crap that it ended up going as far as it did.
None of them. None of them. The men, the women that were there, the wannabe gangster / alcoholic, none of them know the meaning of feeling bad yet. Wait until their pictures are plastered on the local news and nationwide, I have a feeling. Wait until they're paraded in front of a judge. Wait until they're sleeping in a jail cell. Wait until they have spots in a cot. They don't know what feeling bad is yet.
And they deserve all of it.
Every single bit of it.
At both of these incidents, and nothing was spoken when they were occurring. So I would ask that folks not be afraid to speak up. This incident may not have even been reported if the victim didn't end up in the hospital, which is really sad. I want to thank all of our law enforcement partners that have assisted us in this matter to date. The Georgia Bureau of Investigations, our district attorney's office, the Glynn County School Police, as well as the Federal Bureau of Investigations. That's all I have to say.
Would the people whose home this took place at, would they be responsible for anything? Would they possibly be facing criminal charges as well?
So we're not taking anything off the table. We're looking at this investigation from a holistic point of view. Not only the parents that the home that this occurred in, but we're also looking into where the alcohol was obtained from, as well as any type of narcotics.
We also know that
Thank God. You know how mad those parents are right now that he publicly said yesterday? We're also looking into where they got the alcohol. There are going to be a lot of arrests. A lot. Oh, I lost Amanda.
that this has been named a hazing investigation by your department, originally logged as an assault call when it was put into the CAD system for your dispatchers, and then named a hazing incident in a press release from you all. According to our legal experts, this case doesn't fit the Georgia law for hazing. Is this still a hazing investigation for investigators?
I would agree with you. This does not meet Georgia code for hazing because it doesn't involve a public school event or organization that's related to a school. Our victim was an adult, as you're aware. The individuals that are involved in this, other individuals that are involved in this thing, are juveniles. So it would not rise to that definition. I agree.
Okay, thank God, because I got so sick of hearing hazing, hazing, hazing. And again, I put that in the title and I put that on the thumbnail because the way that people are finding this case is Georgia hazing, Trent hazing. I'm glad Brett Buffington is asking these questions. Good on him. Wendy, you're right. The house is a crime scene. You're exactly right. And I saw another comment. Bobby, thank you so much for the super sticker. Thank you so much. It means so much supporting the channel. It really means a lot. Helps tremendously. Predecessor said, isn't taping him to a chair for hours like kidnapping? What a good point. He had no free will to walk away. He was strapped down. He can't get away. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you see yourself, the agency, arresting this, or do you believe that this will be the case presented to the grand jury?
We're going to collect the facts. That's our job. After we collect all the facts, then we'll consult with the district attorney's office and we'll allow him to make that determination.
Have you had other
calls to that house previously before this, any sort of other incidents?
No incidents of this magnitude or of this nature. We had a total of about 10 calls, I believe it was, from August or September of 2022 until a couple of days after the event. A lot of the calls that we had there revolved around or centered after this incident of officers going by doing neighborhood patrols and things of that sort.
Chief, was there a parent home while the drinking was taking place?
We're still investigating where we are on that.
There have been a number of threats that have been issued to there's been a list of families that may or may not be involved in this, not officially confirmed. I understand that there's some threats towards members of those families. Is that also being investigated?
We are going to look into that. Before I came into, I am aware of other folks that are misidentified that had nothing to do with this investigation. We will be looking into that if they make a complaint to our office.
Have you all looked further into
Hang on. What did he say? If they make a complaint to our office. I'm glad that he threw the DA out there. I wish he would use the DA's name, not just the DA, because it's just people don't wrap their mind around it. And I wish more chiefs put the pressure on the DA. The chief can't file charges. The sheriff can't. The investigators can't. None of them can. They need to start putting more pressure on their DAs. I understand it doesn't make for a very cohesive relationship, but this guy, his feet are to the fire. Why don't you just say it? Quit covering for the DA.
Incident of officers going by doing neighborhood patrols and things of that sort.
Chief, was there a parent home while the drinking was taking place?
We're still investigating where we are on that.
There have been a number of threats that have been issued to there's been a list of families that may or may not be involved in this, not officially confirmed. I understand that there's some threats towards members of those families. Is that also being investigated?
We are going to look into that. Before I came into, I am aware of other folks that are misidentified that had nothing to do with this investigation. We will be looking into that if they make a complaint to our office.
Oh, okay, that's what he's saying. So the people that were rumored to be there, or the families whose kids were not there, he's saying if they make a complaint to the office, then he said they'll look into it. Okay, that makes more sense. I was hearing things. I apologize.
I'll look further into the police report states that his father, Trent's father, told police that Trent had been to the hospital prior to that incident for a laceration over his eye and some other concerns that he had. Is that something that you all are taking part in this investigation as well?
We're looking at the whole combination of things, not just the incident with him sitting in the chair or the incident where he's being water hose is being used on him. But one of the things that we have to do is go back and re-interview our victim, right? We just recently had an opportunity to interview him for the first time back on Sunday. At that point in time, obviously, he was still being treated at a hospital. So we need to go back and re-interview him.
Chief, that picture of him in the chair and the video of him being hosed, are those two separate nights?
That is correct.
And the video of him being hosed, is that the night that the dad mentioned that he came home with a yolk spray paint WD-40 on him?
I don't know if we've nailed that part down, but we have confirmed that those were two different nights or two different incidents.
Chief, just happening in your community, the fact that it is so raw and I guess has so many people upset just seeing this, hearing what happened as a member of this community, not just the police chief. What do you say to people who are looking now at Glynn County across the country and saying, look what happened there?
It's a sad and misfortunate event. I want the rest of America, if you will, and from across the pond to understand that we, the citizens of Glynn County, are mostly very good people, hardworking people. This is an isolated incident, and don't judge Glynn County by one group of juvenile teens.
You said you identified all the individuals involved in the video.
I don't like how he keeps saying juvenile teens, juvenile teens. Now I understand he cannot jump the gun and say and call them adults. The DA is going to have to charge him as an adult. I get that, but just leave juvenile out. You can even leave teens out and just say people. Just say people.
It's like if he tries to describe them as that, it makes it less of a crime. It makes what they did less than what it should be taken as. Is how I'm feeling he's stating this. That's what it's coming out like to me.
I think he's been told by people higher up than him how to handle this press conference. Look how long it took to have one. See, police, they like arresting people. That's their job. They sell jail time, if you know what I mean. There's a holdup here, and I'd love to know what it is.
I feel it's they're trying to protect these Murdoch-like people because they have so much money. It's like they want to do favor for them and allow these little kids to get away with what they did, and to protect these well-to-do families.
And I mean,
That's
I
what
get
I feel they're doing there.
You know, Trent, he's 19. They're not calling him a teen. But they're calling the ones that did it to him, they're calling them teens. Okay, we're not talking 13, 14, 15, 16. We're talking 17. I mean, pushing 18 years old. They knew what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing because they've done it before. And I have a feeling Trent is not the only victim.
No.
Trent
There's
is
more.
not.
I feel there's more. I mean, it happened to him twice. It happened to Trent twice. And like they said, if he didn't need to go to the hospital, if it didn't go worse, they probably would have kept doing it and doing it and doing it more and continue doing it to him and others.
Yep. They had found their target, and that's. Oh, they taped him to the chair. They urinated on him. Come on.
They poured alcohol down his throat. I mean, who knows what else that they're not even saying they probably did to him. I mean, we don't know what else they could have possibly done to him. That's even worse than that.
They're too brazen for this to be their only time. This is an escalation. They have done this to other kids. Not to this extent. I don't believe to this extent. There's no other kid that's been put on a ventilator or had to be dumped off at the ER. This is an escalation. They've been doing this for a while. And there's a ringleader. They're going to have to find the ringleader. I have a feeling I know who it is.
Yeah, I do too.
So in the hosing incident, water hose incident, I believe there were 11 juveniles. In the second incident, there were 9 juveniles. Obviously, in what do you call it? Some of those are duplicates, or some of the individuals are at both incidents.
Are there any possible charges that they could face as of now?
We're still working through that.
As of those people you identified, the 11 and the 9, are all of them juveniles or some of them over the age, I guess, over the age that are considered adults?
None of the individuals that we've identified would rise to that level.
Chief, just to clear up individuals from the 11 juveniles to the 9 juveniles, were those some of the same juveniles that were named from the 3 jogging trainers at the hospital at night on Tuesday?
They were.
Chief, just to clear up a misconception that's online, and I apologize if you already answered this and I missed this, but a lot of people were posting that the victim was on the spectrum or, had a mental disability. Is that something that's true? I just want to see if you can fact check it.
So we have interviewed the victim as well as his family. there is no information that we've been provided to support that claim.
Okay, and I really wish that would go away. I don't know where this rumor started that he's autistic, he's on the spectrum, so it's going to be a hate crime. It's been said his I think it's his aunt that made a post and said, no, he's not. No, he's not. And thank goodness the chief cleared it up, because misinformation does not help us in these situations. We want the facts. We want the facts. We want the truth. Right now, the truth we have is that there is a horrific video, a horrific picture, and there's no arrests. There's no arrests. Slim said they've spoken to the victim. Yes, they were allowed to interview him on Sunday. And no matter, well, I mean, it would matter. He was taped to a chair. Someone held his head back and dumped vodka down his throat and other things. The cocktail of substances in his office is enough, in his body was enough to kill a horse. He had youth and he had a guardian angel on his side for sure. By all accounts, he should have died. It's horrible. So we can forget that, the autism and the hate crime thing.
It just popped in my head when you said he was taped to a chair. Why can't they get him for kidnapping?
That's what,
Hold
yeah,
him
there
against
was
his
another
will.
comment I put up a little bit ago. That better be one of their that better be one of the charges. He couldn't get away from them.
Yeah. Yeah, holding him with, out his permission. Kidnapping. Hold
What's
him
he gonna
against
do?
his
Run away
will.
with a chair taped to him? It looks like his eyes, let me look again. It looks like his eyes are covered up. Did they blindfold him? I can't really tell. It's not the best picture. I mean, his face is all covered up in something. Whoever defecated on him better get an extra charge too.
Yeah. Because if you spit on somebody, that's considered, whatever. And you're doing more than that to him? No.
D. Gar
If
said
anything,
hostage.
they should be, if anything, they should be held for a hostage situation, kidnapping. Hold him against his will. I'm pretty sure if they asked him, do you want to be taped to this chair? He would have said no.
Yeah. Did you tape yourself to the chair? No, I did not. Who taped you to the chair? It was third from the left in the picture. Okay. Do you know who poured the vodka down your throat? That's going to be part of the problem. I have a feeling as things went on, he doesn't know who did what to him. They're going to have to rely on these kids turning against each other. They better scare the devil out of them to get it done.
Well, where they need to start is whoever taped him to the chair. They need to go ahead and start putting their asses in jail, because if they'll be like these little domino effect. You arrest one's going to be like, oh no, I'm not going to take all the heat by myself. They'll start opening up their traps.
Yep. Their immaturity, they're going to be able to use to their advantage, because they're going to get scared. They will eventually get scared.
So I don't know. It's like, why are you not arresting these people yet?
What are some of the charges? If they were to be charged, what would they look like? What would they be charged with if this investigation continues to get to that point?
I don't want to speculate on that. I want the facts to point where the facts show. And in consultation with the district attorney's office, we'll determine where we have enough probable cause to support a charge that's not only chargeable, but it's also prosecutable and it's winnable.
All right, we've only got time for 2 more questions. He's a busy man and we've got to go. We have a lot of things to take care of.
Can you tell us how many search warrants have been executed?
Oh, he's a busy man.
I think that provides too much information in regards to the investigation. I'm not going to least that it's done.
Chief, disregarding that, because I think you probably would like to let people in this community know you are here to speak to them and answer their questions about this, and aren't too busy to do that. Would you say to those people, especially those hundreds that gathered at that vigil the other night, the DA's office is asking for patience here, but they remember another case here where it took 74 days for someone to be arrested. What do you say to the people in this community that are so upset that this took days to come out into the public, and now we're a week later, and they say that the arrest is overdue?
This event took days to come out to the public out of respect for the victim's privacy. We looked at that. It was requested of us. And this was an incident that was isolated, that we believe that we had no other public threat going on.
Is there any surveillance video?
Is there surveillance?
From the hospital?
Yes, there is.
Is there clarity to it, or is that?
I have not viewed it personally. The investigators are working with the hospital staff on that.
That video has already obviously circulated to social media. Is that something that you all, as the police department, plan to release publicly?
I missed your question.
The video on social media has already circulated on social media. The video of Trent being water hose. Is that something that you all, as the police department, plan to release from the department?
Once we can, I mean, obviously, like you said, it's in the public forum on social media, but we're going to retain what we have here.
Chief, all these kids went to Glynn Academy. Are you going to be working with the school at all on trying to address this kind of behavior?
We've been working with Chief Rod Ellis with the school police on this investigation. That will be up to the school as far as what type of actions they take.
Thank y'all all
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank you, Chief.
It is not isolated. We have 3 separate incidences that we know of. There could be more. There could be other victims. They need a charge per incident. Not just for the 21st, which is the worst. It is the worst. Now, every one of these families knows an attorney, has one in the family, has money to pay one. They're going to have a lot of issues. They're going to say, well, because of their age, because of the status of the family in the community, blah, 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 blah. You know, we're going to do a plea. Let's do reckless endangerment, 5 years out in a year. They're going to play every card they can. And it's going to be really tough. I'm going to say it for that DA. If he doesn't nail them to the wall, he's going to lose all respect he ever thought of having in that community.
I 100% agree.
He better be ready to throw away some campaign contributions, because he might have been reminded of that by a few of these family members. Just saying. Just saying. We've seen it before. All right, before I shut it down, I'm going to show some clips from the vigil real quick. And I'm tired of these entitled people too. I'm really tired of it. Because if this was, I couldn't imagine, but if this was my child, Amanda's child, Tiffany's child, Brandy's child, Whist's child, any of our children, there would not be any, we kept it quiet for the privacy. No, they didn't. I mean, he just got off of a ventilator. No, it was leaked to social media and you had to answer to it. You weren't worried about his privacy. Right. We know what happened. Don't treat us like we're stupid. We know what happened. Let's look at this vigil, because this is what the DA has to answer to. This is what the chief has to answer to. And that very safe statement that he made, he did not prepare that statement. No.
The teenager's father says his son is in stable condition tonight. He didn't want to speak to us on camera because of the active investigation, but says it was truly breathtaking to see all who came out to support him tonight.
No justice! No peace! No justice! No peace!
Monday night, hundreds gathered at the entrance of the hospital where 19-year-old Trent Lehrkamp is recovering.
It was absolutely heartbreaking and disgusting.
His friend Cynthia Sykes held up a Justice for Trent sign.
He was a very sweet, goofy, intelligent kid. You know, he was always in elementary school. He always had friends around. According to police, Lehrkamp was abused by kids he hung out with. Glynn County Police say around 8:30 p.m. last Tuesday, 3 teens in a Jeep dropped Lehrkamp off at the hospital. Medical staff says he was unresponsive, his clothes soaked with urine and spray paint. His blood alcohol level potentially fatal. The report notes he was breathing just 6 times per minute and was on a ventilator. He deserves better, and we're going to get him better. The victim's father says it's not the first time the teenager has gone to this same friend's house and has been abused. He said he was injured and needed to be treated at a hospital just a few weeks ago in a similar incident. In a statement, his father says, quote, "We are all cooperating with authorities on the investigation and want justice for Trent and to hopefully prevent this from happening to any other kids in the future."
He did not deserve the brutality that was bestowed upon him. This is terrible.
So far, no arrests have been made. More than $58,000 has been donated to the GoFundMe page to help cover medical bills. In Brunswick, Taylor Levesque, First Coast News, on your side.
Community is not having it. They're not having it, and it's going to be impossible to contain them. It's one thing if you have a group of 5 people out there yelling, "Justice for Trent." You got hundreds out there, and I'm going to say it right now because race has been brought up. He's white. There's a lot of black people, a lot of brown people screaming at the top of their lungs. You can't just let this go away.
That's right. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being such a light and a voice for Trent. Thank you.
Well, thank you for telling me about it, or I would not have known. I probably really would not have known. I only watch Brian Enton when he's in the snow or has a fresh spray tan.
I hear you.
All right, girlfriend, I'll message you after the show. Thank you for coming up.
All
Let's have a big round of applause for Amanda.
Thank you so much for having me. You have a nice, blessed day.
You too, hun, anytime. She is fired up about this case. She is furious. I'm furious. You guys are furious. Now let's put ourselves in Trent's father's shoes. He's got 2 feet. You've got your child helpless in the hospital. Thank goodness you've got the community support. Thank goodness people are putting money in the GoFundMe. Thank goodness. But one thing you can't control is what the police and the DA are doing. You'd be helpless. What would you do? I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. But we're going to keep it out there. We're going to keep it out there. Mermaid, did you not get your package yet? It was supposed to be delivered on Monday. It's in a big box. Uh-oh, I better go check some tracking. Okay, guys, you have a great rest of your day. If I don't see you in Discord, if I don't see you in one of the Facebook groups or something like that, community tab, always check the members tab. I try to update as much as possible on there. If I don't see you around those places, I'll see you back here at 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. Whatever you guys find out about this, please update one of the groups and let's all hang together on this because kind of looks like they really want it to go away. Like yesterday wanted to go away. Not going to happen. Not around here. You guys are the best. I will see you back here tomorrow. Have a great rest of your day.